Well, New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg is, of course, an independent. He was asked today on a trip to New Orleans about what he thinks about something that's going on. For some reason this week, about 10 to 15 publications have been talking about me running for president. This is what Mayor Bloomberg had to say when he was asked about that prospect.
I've known Lou for a long time. I think Lou Dobbs and I have very different views on what this country needs, dramatically different views on what this country needs. But, you know, one of the nice things about democracy is no matter what your views are, and no matter how much somebody may or may agree with them or disagree with them, you have the opportunity to run. And I think if he wants to do it, I've always said the public should have more choice and not less. And I would urge him, if that's what he wants to do, go for it.
Well, Miguel, what do you think?
You know, when I heard the rumors, I thought you were talking about me, and I wanted to tell you that I wasn't even born in this country. I cannot run for president, although I would challenge you.
The truth of the matter is, I think that is lamentable. The mayor there, Ed Rollins, was he trying to get me to do something he's decided not to do?
I think the wonderful part of that is you and he together, you running at the top of the ticket and he running as vice president, and his $1 billion and me managing your campaign would do pretty well.
Well, I think the sine qua non there is Mayor Bloomberg's billions of dollars.
That's very important to both you, giving up your day job and being viable.
Well, viable is a huge issue. But has Mayor Bloomberg, in your judgment, Errol, no one follows New York politics more closely than you, and politics, of course, has the mayor basically destroyed his political future by suggesting he disagrees with my views on a host of issues?
Well, I think he may have seriously impaired his standing as an independent populist, although it's important to note that he is not a populist with $13 billion net worth. He's an independent.
And by the way, most people who have $13 billion are extraordinarily independent.
Well, yes, in more ways than one. He is, though, I think, he's a free thinker. You know, I mean, he was a Democrat and then a Republican and now an independent.
Right.
From watching him, I can tell you that and this is something that you two do have in common, he just kind of works from the facts, right, and arrives at his conclusions without regard to party loyalty. And it's something that has been refreshing in New York, and the nation could probably use a lot more of it.
Yeah, in that regard, I have to say, Ed Rollins, the truth is, I think that Bloomberg and I share a great reverence for empiricism. Yeah, he gets a little carried away on the issue of illegal immigration, for example. There are a number of issues. He has a little more affection for the elites than I do.
Well, if you had $13 billion, you might be a little more elitist too, Lou. Just some of the populism goes out when you have that kind of money. I think what has happened, though, with Mike, on a serious note, is he had an opportunity here a couple months ago when people had a real fascination with him running as an independent. I think he's told enough people, no, I'm not going to run, that at this point, I mean, he can still get in, but I think day by day he has thrown water on the possibility of his independent candidacy. And I think to a certain extent that does leave a void for someone else that may want to run as a populist.
Well, the idea that this country of 300 million people, as I've been traveling around the country for the last week and a half or so, the number of people who are excited about candidacies in both parties is at the margin, at best. And I'm talking about the front runners, overwhelming front runner in the case of Senator Clinton, Miguel. There just isn't that. There doesn't seem to be much satisfaction with her.
I think I speak for most of the American people when I tell you that I am not looking for the person that I like best. I am looking for the person that I dislike less.
How about you, Earl?
I think that's a common sentiment. In fact, there's not a lot of electricity. Even watching the debates last night, not a lot of electricity in the room, not a lot of real sort of passion. And then there's a whole range of issues, from the subprime mortgage meltdown on down, that just isn't really even front and center in these debates. So there are a lot of issues that you have put on the public agenda. I think it shows that there's room for more.
Well, we've reached a fatigue factor. This thing has gone on so long now, and we haven't even started to count votes yet, that I'm afraid that no new ideas are being offered. And I think if none of the above was on a lot of these ballots, it would win. And I think that's a very unfortunate thing for this country.
Well, I just want to tell you and all of our viewers who are wondering whether or not I'm running for president, also a lot of the executives and colleagues here at CNN whether I'm running for president, I want you to know clearly and unequivocally, without hesitation, I will tell you, I'm not going to comment any further after denying any interest in the job until we hear more from the exploratory committees all across the country. Ed Rollins, thank you very much. Miguel Perez, thank you very much. As always, good to have you guys with us. Thank you, Ed. And still ahead, mortgage fraud, a massive problem in this country.